A U.S. attack on a charity hospital in Afghanistan that left 42 people dead was not a war crime. That's the conclusion of a Pentagon investigation which determined the October strike was unintentional, the result of human error and equipment failures. 16 U.S. service members have been disciplined as a result, but none will face criminal charges. We'll delve deeper into the findings right after this news summary. A protest and an endorsement stole much of the show in Republican presidential politics today. John Yang begins our coverage.
A melee today as protesters and police clashed outside the hotel hosting the California Republican Party convention. The scheduled speaker, frontrunner Donald Trump. Because of the commotion, the candidate had to take the long way in.
That was not the easiest entrance I've ever made. My wife called, she said, there are helicopters following you, and we did, and then we went under a fence and through a fence, and oh boy, I felt like I was crossing the border, actually, you know, it's true.
It's his second straight day in the state, and the second day marred by protests. 17 people were arrested outside his rally last night in Orange County.
Live from the heartland and
From a hotly contested Indiana, the state's top Republican, Governor Mike Pence, told Republican listeners who won his coveted endorsement.
I'm not against anybody, but I will be voting for Ted Cruz in the upcoming Republican primary. I see Ted Cruz as a principled conservative who's dedicated his career to advocating the Reagan agenda, and I'm pleased to support him.
The Texas senator is banking on a good showing in the Hoosier State next week.
We have a choice. Do we want to get behind a campaign that is based on yelling and screaming and cursing and insults? Or do we want to unite behind a positive, optimistic, forward-looking, conservative campaign based on real solutions to the problems in this country?
Democrat Bernie Sanders is also hoping for a good result in Indiana. Today he had tough words for a major employer in Indianapolis, its now shuttered factory, providing the backdrop.
Today we are sending a very loud and clear message to the CEO of United Technologies. Stop the greed. Stop destroying the middle class in America. Respect your workers. Respect the American people.
Sanders, though, is still the underdog for the nomination, trailing Hillary Clinton by about 300 pledged delegates, by 800 if you count superdelegates. Clinton ended her two-day break from the public eye in New York City talking race and education.
Given the right circumstances, given the appropriate adult involvement and attention, every child can succeed. And we have got to believe that, and we've got to invest in that.
In 2008, Clinton beat then-Senator Obama in the Indiana primary. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Yang.
We'll take a closer look at the presidential race, including the key role individual delegates will play in selecting a nominee later in the program. In Syria, fresh violence rocked the war-torn city of Aleppo today. Insurgents shelled a mosque in a government-held neighborhood, killing at least 15 people. Meanwhile, new air raids hit rebel-controlled areas of Aleppo, while the death toll from Wednesday's strike on a hospital rose to 50. All that as the U.S. and Russia tried to reinforce a ceasefire in a Damascus suburb and in the port city of Latakia.
We want to focus on strengthening the cessation of hostilities, renewing it, reaffirming it, so that we can quell the fighting or the violations, the ongoing violations in these areas. We're fully aware that Aleppo is a trouble spot, but we're starting here.
Violence in and around Aleppo has claimed the lives of more than 200 people in just the last 8 days. North Korea's Supreme Court has sentenced a Korean-American businessman to 10 years of hard labor after finding him guilty of spying and stealing state secrets. Kim Dong-chul appeared today in court in Pyongyang. He was handcuffed and could be seen wiping away tears. Kim is the second American imprisoned by North Korea this year. The U.S. reported its first Zika virus-related death today. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that a 70-year-old man in Puerto Rico